These 5 completely different journal systems all came from one single file folder. Let me show you exactly how. This is the waterfall. It's built with a hinge system, layering, and it even has hidden pockets. Let's take a look at the pieces you're going to need. You're going to need to cut a 4 by 8.5. This is going to be your base. Your waterfall covers are 4 and 3.5, 4 by 4, and 4 by 4.5. The hidden pockets are 4 by 3.25, 4 by 2.5, and 4 by 1 7/8. And now the pockets. You'll need 3 4 by 2, 2 4 by 1 3/8, and 1 4 by 1 inch. Now, a quick tip on how to cut these out so that you get the most from your file folder. The first thing I would do is I would take your file folder and you're going to cut from here to here and just cut this piece off. And then you're going to cut from here to here and cut this piece off right through here. Then you're going to start by cutting 4-inch wide sections, because that's the common denominator in all of these is the 4-inch sections. Then cut them down to the sizes that you'll need. For this project, I chose 3 different pieces of paper. I chose this lovely pink for the base, a high contrasting color for the flaps, the waterfall pieces, and the hidden pockets will be made out of this darker one, and then all of the pockets will be made out of this lighter pink. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your base, and your base will be covered on both sides, and then your flap pieces, the 4 by 3.5, 4 by 3.5, the 4 by 4, and the 4 by 4.5 will all be covered. And these you want to cover double-sided as well, because those you'll be able to see both sides in your build. And then out of that high contrast color, you're also going to want to do the inside pockets. So this is going to be the hidden pocket for the top, bottom, and middle. And then the last set is only going to be covered, those pockets are only single-sided covered, and then the pockets are only single-sided covered. So you have a 4 by 1 inch, you have a 4 by 1 3/8, 3 of those, and then you have 3 4 by 2s, and all of those are going to be covered in that lighter colored paper, so that you have a nice contrast going on when you put your build together. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our flaps ready, and to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to lay them down. The 4-inch side is going to go lengthwise, and then this one is 3.5, so it's going to go across the top, and I'm just going to score at the 1/2 inch mark. So all of these measurements allow for a 1/2 inch hinge. So I'm going to make the hinge on that one. The same with this one. The longer side, the 4-inch, is going to go along the side. So let me make sure. It's going to go along the side, across the top, sorry, and then the shorter side will go down the left side. And this is the 4 by 4. And then I'm going to prep this one And this is the 4.5 by 4. And I want to make sure I got the right measurements because I want to, yes. This is the 4.5 by 4, so the 4 inch is going to go along the left side, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch as well. And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round the corners that are away from the fold. So I'll make my fold so that I'm sure I know which ends I'm going to round. And for right now, I'm just going to round the bottom end, the bottom. Here's the fold on these. And then I'm going to take my corner rounder and I'm just going to round these corners. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and ink all of the sides. Okay, so all the pieces have been prepared. I went ahead and rounded the corners, and I used this beautiful pink color called Worn Lipstick and used that to ink all of the edges. So I inked the edges of the bases of all of the flaps. I also mitered these edges so that when I glue them down, they won't be bulky and you won't be able to see them through the edge. The pockets, I went ahead and rounded all the corners on the pockets, the hidden pockets, and inked all of the edges. On the outer pockets, I went ahead and added a thumb hole print and then rounded all of the edges and inked them. And then on the inner pockets, the small one and the others, I just rounded the bottom edges and left the top edges straight because we're going to trim those out. Now to start the assembly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my art glitter glue and I'm going to glue this edge. Darn it. I'm going to glue the flap really well. And the placement is going to be from the bottom up. So I'm going to line up the bottom edges, and that's how I'm going to determine where I'm going to put the top piece. And I'm just going to press that down just like that. So you see I lined up the bottom and I'm pressing down the top. Now the next piece is going to be aligned at the top. So I'm going to line it straight across the top. And once I get that glued on, if you noticed, this top piece was rounded, so I'm just going to grab my corner rounder and round this corner up here at the top. Is it going to fit? Oh, I should have done it before I glued it. Let me pull this off real quick. It's too thick to go through in my corner rounder, so I'm just going to round these corners real quick. And now I'm going to re-glue it. There. And I'll line up all the edges quite nicely. And now I'm just going to ink these just to kind of cover where I pulled it off. And there. Now the middle piece we'll put on after we put the pockets in. So the larger one, I'm going to go ahead and glue just on 3 sides. You'll notice that I double-sided these when I covered them. That's not necessary. And I'm going to line it up just below the crease. I don't want to line it up right on that crease because I don't want to inhibit the closing of this. So as you can see, I left just a little space, lined up the edges, and pressed down to create a pocket on the side. And I'm going to do the same with the middle piece. I'm just going to go ahead and glue the 3 sides, align it just shy of that middle, that crease, and press down. Okay, the last flap is going to go glued right here, right along the edge of that pocket. So I'm going to glue this really, really well. There. And line up all the edges. And when I open it up, this should fit just perfectly on the inside. If it doesn't, you can just trim it down a little bit. And then remember that this one only gets glued on 3 sides. Okay, and so now I'm just going to slide this one in just like this. Press it in so that all the sides are glued nicely. There. Now we just need to lay the pockets and we'll be finished. Well, we'll decorate with a little bit of lace. There we go. All right, so now we'll take these, glue these on the outside like this, and take the inner and glue them right here. Okay, and to finish this off, I found some lovely purple that I'm going to put on the outside, and on the inside I'm going to glue down this lovely peach to finish it off. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and take my bone folder and crease along the top to make sure that everything stays flat. So here's our finished product. Beautiful waterfall. Has nice little pockets and even has some side pockets, hidden spaces for some little treasures or special notes. The next file folder build is going to be the expandable tag. This one solves the problem of storage without adding bulk. So you can see how nice and flat this is. And it's really cute. It opens up all the way, has pockets on all of the sides as well as on the back. And then you just secure it with the pretty little ribbon. This one can be mounted flat. It can be added with a hinge to be a pop out. Or you can just take it and you can clip here at the top and here at the bottom with paper clips to hold it in. Now for the expandable tag, you're going to need the following pieces. You'll need a 5 by 8 inch base. The middle tag is 4.5 by 7, and the front tag is 4 by 5. Then when you open it up, you'll have a strip that's left. You'll make the long pocket from that, and that'll be 3 by 8, and that's the pocket that goes on the base, the back base. Then you'll make 2 pockets that are 2.5 by 3.5 inches, 2 pockets that are 4 by 3 inches, a 3-inch by 3.5 inch pocket, and a 3.25 by 3.5 inch pocket. And just the same as we did with the build before, you're going to go ahead and cover front and back of all the bases and only one side of the pockets. I've chosen 3 different patterns for this, and each one of these is going to be a base, and then we will make sure that we spread out the other pockets on the same papers, just making sure that we don't duplicate any of the same colors on each. So I have this very light colored, a very highly contrasting color, and then one that's kind of in the middle. And so we're going to go ahead and cover all of the bases, and then we're going to round the corners. Real quick, I did forget to tell you on this one. All of the bases, before you cover the pockets, we're going to go ahead, each one has a hinge that's built in, and it's a 1/2 inch hinge, and so cover the fronts first, and then we're going to go ahead and score, and I'll show you how to put the hinges on, and then we'll cover the backs. So now that we have our bases covered, I chose the dark one, and then the medium colored one, and the light one. I'm only going to put a 1/2 inch score on the middle and on the front tag. There's that one, and there's this one. And now to assemble. I'm going to go ahead and fold this one forward because I want the middle one to fold over the top of the larger. So this is how this one will go, and I'll meet them at the bottom, and then this one will be glued here. And then this one, I'm going to fold backwards because I will attach like this. And that's how this will be assembled. Then when I open this up, I will cover here and here, and when I open this up, I'll cover back here. So let me go ahead and glue these down, and then I'll show you how to cover the backs. And here we have it assembled, just like that. Perfect. Now to cover the back, we're going to cut a piece that's 4 by 5, and I'm going to lay it here and glue it down. And then 4.5 by 7, I'm going to lay it here and glue it down. And then a 5 by 8 base, and I'm going to lay it over the top. Okay, now that we have the pieces cut out, we're going to go ahead and lay them down and glue them on, just like this. So going to make sure that there's plenty of glue on this, and at least a 1/2 inch here. And just to make sure I get everything pressed down really well, I'm going to use my bone folder just to help me seal it really, really well. Okay, and I'm just going to continue this on until they're all covered. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through, and as you can see, some of these edges just weren't exactly right. So we'll go ahead and we'll go through and we'll trim those edges, and then we're only going to round the corners that are exposed. So I'm going to go ahead and round this one. This one. Oh, I didn't get that one well enough. There we go. There. This one. This one. this one, and this one. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm inking. Okay, so I have the corners rounded and it's all nice and trimmed up, and I decided that I was going to use black soot. So I'm just going to use my black soot, and I'm going to go over all the edges. Oh, that's going to be nice. There we go. And I'm just going to go over all the edges and get everything that maybe didn't get trimmed up quite right. Oh, and that's going to look really nice. Just like that. Now when you're inking, don't forget to press nicely here and make sure you get all of these edges too, because they'll look really nice if you make sure that you get them all inked nicely. Here's this one. I'm going to press down on this real well so that I can get this edge here. Oh, this one didn't get sealed inside. Well, I'll show you how to fix that too. Okay, there we go. So now we just need to start putting in our pockets. Okay, I decided to go ahead and decorate a little bit. Not a lot, but I wanted to show you how I took care of this little problem I had. The paper I was using was a little bit too short to cover, so what I did was I'm going to use washi tape. And I'm going to put it right on the end, and see how that just kind of took up that little bit of extra space. And I still didn't get it like perfect, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and round my corners. And so that'll take up some of it. And then I'm going to ink the edges, and it will, as you can see, it'll cover up the rest. So I'm just going to come in with my black soot and just ink around these edges, just like this. There. Okay, so let's glue a couple of pockets in. The first one I'm going to glue in is this large one. And we're just going to take a little bit of ink, a little bit of glue, sorry, and we're going to put it around the edge. And we're going to glue this pocket in. I rounded the corners on this one, mostly because I needed to match the corner up at the top. I'm going to push that down in a little bit. There we go. I wanted to make sure that I got this all close. Make sure you don't get it too close to the edge, because you want this still to be able to fold over on itself. So there's that one. And I just love this dragonfly. I think I want to put that dragonfly there. But if you notice, I don't like how the white is on this. This is a Tim Holtz, by the way. I'm just going to ink it. And this little guy, for some reason, really takes well to the ink. And so before you know it, we won't even be able to tell that that was white all the way around the edge. Or if we do, it'll be barely noticeable. Here we go. And now we're just going to glue them down. Put some glue on the back of him, making sure to get those little spots right there. There. I don't want to do too much. And this one is the bug. I think I'm going to do it like this, because I want to see both parts of the bug. Okay, so I'm going to glue down these sides. here. And then the other one will be glued down here, and it'll help to kind of hide this. Another way we could do this is we could put some washi on there and make it look like it's part of, like it was intentional. Just like this, watch. There. So now I have this really nice washi. Gonna make sure I round the edge on that too. There. And now I'm just gonna glue this down. And that's how I'm gonna fix that. It actually looks like it's intentional. There. And we could add something to this. Let's see if we've got something. No. I think I'm just going to leave it. Okay. Now that we've got this taken care of, I'm going to keep going over this with my bone folder just because I want to make sure that this stays nice and pressed. There. Okay, we have just a couple left to go. I decorated this one and these two, and I need to find the one on for the front cover. So let's see. Well, I wasn't going to do a lot of decorating, but I just really have the need for some brads on this and some hardware. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of brads in the corners on this one, and this is the one that goes on the front. Now remember, when you're using brads, to make sure that you intentionally put them in a direction in the back. To where they won't be in the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and cover them with washi in the back because I don't want them to interfere with putting things inside of the pockets. Oh, that's so nice. Okay. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of washi to cover that up in the back. Just like that. Just so that when I slide a tag in or piece of paper, it just doesn't get hung up on those brads. Perfect. And now this one can go glued down. Really had to fight the temptation to go like all out crazy on this because I just love this one. I really like the papers. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I really like that. Okay, and I'm going to grab my bone folder. Okay, there. Okay, for this one I'm going to go a little earthy on my closure, and I'm just going to put, let's see where I want this to close up at. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue back here to hold this ribbon in place. And I'm going to open up this frayed ribbon and just kind of place it down. There we go. And then I'm going to tie and trim. There we go. Very nice. Oh, I like that. That came out super cute. There. Now this next project is a really easy one. It's going to go by really quick, but it is very, very secure. And what's nice is that when you open it up, if you can see, I don't know if you can see inside, but it has a hidden little divider in here that gives you two separate areas in this little wallet type closure. And then there's a pocket on the back. So we are going to create this one next. Okay, this wallet consists of only two pieces. The first one is 8.5 by 9, which is going to be the outer shell, and then the 4 1/4 by 8 1/4 is going to be the inside. And I have chosen a couple of really nice prints for this one. The outside of the wallet and the inside of the wallet. I haven't decided which is which. I think the white, this cream color is going to be the outside, and then this will be the divider on the inside. So just like with all of our others, we're going to go ahead and cover it, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like when we're done covering both sides. Actually, only one side of the 8.5 by 9, and then I'm going to do both sides of the inner piece. Technically, it doesn't have to be done because you won't see it, but I did it anyway. So let me go ahead and cover those. Be right back. Okay, so now we have everything covered. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take this larger piece and fold it in half, making sure I got all my edges. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and really score this down. Now I want to have rounded corners, so I'm going to do that before I glue this together. I'm also going to want to put a closure on it. And so I'm going to want to do that before I glue it down as well. There, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use the black soot on this one as well. And I'm going to go ahead and ink my edges real quick. Okay, before I got too carried away decorating, I wanted to make sure that I remembered the pocket on the back. And so this is just a 2.5 inch by 9 inch strip. And we're just going to go ahead and glue this down. And then I've got some really pretty, this is going to be very blingy. So I got some very pretty trim and some gorgeous little eyelets that we're going to put in real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to put the insert in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set the eyelets. I'm just going to go ahead and I want these kind of set a little deeper. There we go. I'm just folding it in half, by the way. It's just folded in half, and I'm going to go ahead and set my holes. I'm going to enlarge them, and I have these really pretty eyelets that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and set the eyelet. And I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this, but here we go. I hope it sets because yeah, there we go. Oh, it didn't work. Let me grab a different. This isn't big enough, so let me grab a different one. Okay, I've never tried this before, so this is going to be a new one for both of us. I am going to use these brass or these bronze colored ones with it, and let's see if I can get it to work, because they weren't designed to go together. But I anticipate it will work. It feels like it's worked. Doesn't look as pretty, but that's okay. Something about that shiny gold. I don't know why these don't want to, why it doesn't want to set. Okay. There we go. Okay, it's set. Awesome, there we go. I'm going to ink these edges again a little bit. I don't like how white they were. Now we're just going to set the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue in the divider, just like that. So there it goes. It's just going to go just inside like that. I'm going to glue down the sides, the bottoms, just the sides, I think. I think the sides should be sufficient. So, no, I changed my mind. I'm going to do the bottom as well, because I really want this to stay inside. Where it belongs. Ooh, and I didn't trim it. I know there's glue on it, but I'm gonna trim it real quick just so that it sets right. Glue never hurt anybody. There we go. And I'm going to just re-glue this real quick. And I'm going to set it just like that. Perfect. And now I'm going to set some glue here and here, because I don't want the wallet to be any larger in size than the little divider is. There. Now we're just going to glue it shut. Oh, this came out so cute. I really like this one. Let me trim that. I'm going to re-ink this a little bit. There we go. And now we're just going to add the closure. So, oh, I'm going to use this pretty color. I'm just going to make it long enough to where I can tie it. Two pieces. And I am just going to thread this through. And I'm going to knot it. Just like that. And I'm going to do the other side. All right, and there we have it. We have finished our little wallet. Isn't it cute? Wow. I like this one. This one came out really nice. This build is just a simple envelope. It's got some nice little gusseted sides. We can open it up. And it's got some storage in here and some pretty little lace with hardware. I love hardware. So let's get started on this one. I only needed 2 different sheets of paper. I decided to go with this kind of a newspaper print with floral over it. Thought it was kind of grungy, and the liner will be these pretty purple orchids. And let's get started with our cutting. Okay, so these are the cuts for this build, for the envelope. You're going to need 2 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. This is going to be the front and the back. 1 piece that's 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. That's going to be the top flap. And then we have 2 gussets that are 1 inch by 8 1/2 inches. These are going to be, these have a little extra, so we may end up trimming up a little bit by the time we end up, but it's better to have more than not enough. So what you're going to do is you're going to cover these. You're going to cover one side with your outside paper, and then cover the other sides with your contrasting paper. So one side's one sheet, one side's the other. Okay, now that I have all my pieces cut out and I've got them all covered, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my flap and my front piece. So these are going to be kind of a rounded edge, and so I'm going to go ahead and use the edge of this tin to cut out the shape I want for my flap. And the same for this piece that's going to be a little bit more exposed, where it's going to open up, the opening. There. I've just traced those, and now I'm just going to cut them out. And then I'm going to take about 2 minutes, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to ink just the outside. So I'm going to use my black soot, and I'm going to ink just the black side. I don't need to ink the inside. There's that one. And now for the flap. There. Now we have the piece that's going to go over the top, and we have that. And now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get this nice and inked. It's really going to help with the rest of the build. See how you can see it now? So I'm going to go ahead and finish inking. Okay, so now we need to do some scoring. So I'm going to take my front piece and I'm going to score at the bottom 1/2 inch. And I'm going to take my back piece and I'm going to score it 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm going to take my sides, both sides, and each one of these is going to get done 1/4 inch. So I'm going to come all the way down as far as my board will let me on both sides at the 1/4 inch mark. And now I can just flip it over and do the same. 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. There we go. We'll score the upper flap in a second. I just want to make sure that we get these scored and pressed down properly. So 1/4 inch all the way. And then you need to make sure that you take your bone folder, edges of your scissors, butter knife, whatever you got on hand, and you really want to press these down because you want to have a nice crisp crease. On your corners. And I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a little tough because you're bending paper and you've got that folder. There. But it should leave you with a pretty nice spine. There you go. Nice gusset. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and score the others and bend the others. Okay, now that we've gotten those done, we want to go ahead and do the lid, and this is going to be 1/4. So you want to make sure that you get that. 1/4 1/2. Let's see. Let's go, yeah. There's the 1/4. And there's 1/2. And that should give us enough. Again, you're going to want to go ahead and really press these down. And then here's the 1/2. Perfect. Now for assembly. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down the bottom pieces, and they're going to overlap just like this. So I'm going to kind of flatten them out a little bit, and I'm going to put some art glitter glue down on these lips. And I'm going to glue these two pieces together. You want to make sure that you get this right up into that fold, not so close that it inhibits the ability of it to fold, but you want to make sure you get it right in there because it's going to sit. You've only got about 1/2 inch to play with, and because of the gussets. Now my paper's lifting a little bit, so I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue so that that stays nice and flat. There. Now that I've got that glued down, I'm going to go ahead and start by gluing the first piece. And I'm going to start it right where that fold is at. So it's going to stick out a bit at the top, but that's okay. So I'm going to put a nice amount of glue on here. Okay, it's plugging up. There we go. There. I'm going to put it right there. I want it really close to the edge. So that it sits nice and flush. And then I'm just taking my bone folder on the inside and I'm just pressing that little 1/4 inch lip down because I want to make sure that it glues really, really well. There, and see how nice that sits? And now I'm going to do the other side because we're going to have to trim this off first, and I'm also going to have to, we want to make sure that we get both sides glued down properly. So now that I've got it glued, I'm just going to glue it down. Okay, I'm going to do some trimming. So I just went ahead and lifted this up, and I made a couple of little marks right here where I'm going to go ahead and cut that so that my gussets are even with the rest of my build. There we go. And then I'm also going to come in here and I'm going to cut this little piece out as well. Cut that down, and I'm going to cut that out. There. Perfect. Okay, so now the next step is that we're going to glue the little flap on, and I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to put glue on this little tiny piece right here, that 1/4, that 1/4 inch that we scored, and that is going to sit right here on this piece, and I'm going to flatten it out, open it up a little bit so that I can press down. Remember not to put it right in the fold because you want to give it a little bit of room, but we're going to get right up in there. There we go. And now it fits nicely over. Now we're going to put on our hardware, and then we're going to glue the other side. So let's grab the hardware that we're going to put on. Okay, now that we have it all kind of formed a bit, I'm going to put this on. Now, normally these would go this way, but for some reason they don't stay closed very well that way. So I am going to put it on upside down so that I'm sure that I get a nice good seal and it closes really well for me. And I'm going to put it right where I want it. And then I'm just going to mark where I'm going to put my holes at. So this is where I want my top piece to sit. make a mark there, and I'm going to make a mark there. Then I'm going to set this over the top. And I'm going to pull down on it. I want to make sure that this is sitting snug. I don't want it to have any give in there, because if I do that, then it's not going to want to close properly. So there's one of the marks, there's the other mark, there's a mark, and there's a mark. I think I'm a little off, but that's okay. I think it's the lip that's off more so than the hardware. Well, I suppose I could move it over a little bit. I'm going to move it over. Yeah, I'm really going to move it over. I like it where it's at right now better. There we go. Okay. So there, and there, and there, and there. Before I can't remember, I'm going to go ahead and make my marks. Perfect. And down here, here, and here. Okay, great. Now I'm going to grab my little brads and I'm going to put this together. There we go. We're going to put the first couple in. Just like that. And I'm going to push these little guys. There we go. To either side, and I'm not worried about closing it yet because we still have to put some lace and that will cover up those edges. So I'm going to go ahead and finish putting these on. And there, we've got our little hardware on. So now the only thing left to put on is my plate, and I think I'm going to put it up here. I was thinking that I might put it somewhere else, but I really like it on the top. So I'm going to kind of center it a little bit. Oops, and I want to make sure that I have the opening at the top. There is definitely an opening so that you can slide a little piece of paper in there with what you have inside. And I'm going to make my marks. I'm going to put my holes. One there, one there. And now we're going to put the brads in. One there and one here. Perfect. And I'm just going to grab a little piece of washi and I'm going to put it down just over the second set. I don't have to put it over the first set, but just to kind of give it a little finished off look, I'm going to put it over this set. Actually, I think I'm just going to put a strip across. And that way it looks like I planned it, instead of I'm just covering something up. Even though I am just covering something up. Okay. There we go. Clip that a little bit. There. And you look at that. Now we just need to put a little bit of lace on it and seal her up. Okay, let me grab the lace. Okay, well now we have our lace picked out, and I am just going to add it on here. There we go. Perfect. And then I'm going to add the lace to the outside as well. And this one I've actually planned so that I can put just a small little piece of lace here, and then it's going to wrap around. Okay. So I'm going to put this lace down like this. Little Cheerio lace. And now I'm going to put some glue down here. That helps to cover up that seam too, where the lid attaches. Perfect. And now we're going to glue down the inside. We're just going to put some glue there and finish it up. And I'm going to use a combination. I'm using part Fabri-Tac because I'm going to put that right there on that fabric, but then I'm going to come in here with this art glitter glue because I want it to grab quick. I don't want to give it a lot of time to adjust because I don't want it to move. There we go. Give it just a second to get a little tacky. There we have it. I'm going to come out here, make sure these edges are secure, and the same over here, make sure that they're even. Give it a little shift. There we go. Look at that, our little case is all done. That sure came out nice. I really like that. Toying with the idea of putting something on the front. Maybe something like that, or I don't know. I kind of like this one, I think. So I'm just gonna ink these edges a little bit. And I'm gonna glue this down and we'll call it done. There's that. And now I'll ink the inland printer. Perfect. There. Oh, that came out nice. I really like that. That's a lovely one. All right. And this is the last build for today. This is just a really simple little base with pockets on the front and a nice little pocket on the back. I've chosen some really fun paper. We're going to go with some fruits. Oops. We're going to go with some fruits and some gingham. And the cuts you will need is one 6x8, 3 2 3/4 by 9, and one 3.5 by 6 for the back pocket. I'm going to go ahead and cover my base in my fruits and my pockets in my gingham. Front sides only on the pockets and both sides on the base. Okay, to design the pockets, what we're going to do is we're going to take our strips and we are going to do score half an inch on each side, and then we're going to go ahead and miter those corners. So here we're going a half an inch here. Half an inch here. And here. And then we're just going to miter those corners so that when we fold them over we get a nice clean corner. And then to finish off the pockets, we're going to ink them in our faded blue jeans and add some lace, and then we'll be right back to show you how to put them on. Okay, I just realized that I made these to go horizontal instead of vertical. That's okay, it just means that we're going to go with one less pocket. That's cool. So, got them all inked, got them all glued out. I've got them all inked, sorry, and I'm going to put glue on them so that I can put them on the base. So I'm going to set this one down, make sure all the edges are good. There we go. And now I'm going to do the other. There, now we have two glued on. We're going to flip it over and do the back pocket. It's ready to go. This was such a nice, easy, relaxing one. I enjoyed this one a lot. And there you have it. And this one's finished. Okay, I'm going to clean up my desk and we're going to go over and do a quick run through of everything that we did today. Okay, wow, look at the beautiful stuff we made. We made this very adorable waterfall. We did the horizontal pockets, our cute little envelope with the clasp, our expanding tag, and our wallet. We did some great crafting today. I thank you everybody for sharing some creative time with me. I really enjoyed it as always. If you would like this video and you want to see some more, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to help my channel grow. I'll be back with you on Wednesday with a new file folder February project, and until then, create something magical. Bye bye. Wow, let's take a look at the beautiful stuff that we created today. The first thing we have our waterfall pockets. Aren't they adorable? So pretty. Our wallet, the bee wallet. our expanding file full, our expanding tags. Oh my gosh, that has so much storage. This adorable envelope with all the hardware. Oh, I love that. And lastly, horizontal pockets with a cute little pocket on the back. Gosh, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for sharing some creative time with me. I really enjoyed it, as always. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to help my channel grow. Remember, I'll be back with you on Wednesday with a new file folder February project. And until then, my friends, create something magical. Bye-bye.